Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new mixing tutorial. Let's take a look at this mix of this cover of Divisionary by ERRA. A very interesting song from the boys. They just don't seem to miss. I've been really loving every single ERRA song. Yes, let's check out the mix. Master bus processing off for the moment while I explain the rest of the tracks. So this is a drum sound I've used time and time again. It's the drum sound that I described in the Thornhill Nurture mixing tutorial. So I don't have to repeat myself, and I know a lot of you have already watched that drum sound. We can skip the plugins, but if you haven't yet, it's comprised of Invasion fully, and you can check out the very detailed plugin rundown on the Thornhill Nurture mixing tutorial. It's very easy. Just go to the Patreon page, search bar, you type in Nurture, and you're gonna get that mixing tutorial. Let's move on to the bass, which is very important in this coverino. So the bass has a very important role because there's hardly any rhythm guitars in the verses. So the bass needs to be very thick and present. Which is a challenge when you have 6-month-old strings on your bass. Yes, it is. Let's see what I did. Listen to this shameful DI. No bueno. No bueno, my dudes. So let's get into some DI processing. I hit my DI with this EQ. So if you could see, if you can imagine, I'm trying to add some sub life to try to recoup some of the note that is lost from having a dead string, taking away some of the honky mid-range that builds up when the string is dead and the top and bottom start to go lifeless. There's a little, this is nothing really. And a very important brightening at about 5K, getting me some pick information. And to get more pick information, I run the DI into Saturn. So I add a little bit of saturation to the high end above 1.2K. If you can hear, that gives me more high end to work with. That is a very different DI. And it's this guy. I mean, I put on this guy just like, okay, I need some distortion to track the bass or else I'm not going to play it correctly. Let's just put on this guy. And then it just ends up staying. Joel Wanasek Boss Glue Bass is a plugin, like I've explained time and time again, where you can have an all-in-one bass processing of compressing your low end, compressing your high end differently and setting their levels independently, and distorting the high end as well so you can get the distortion in the same plugin. And that's it. I'm using it, and I'm using distortion A, which tends to be my favorite. Very dark, glassy, very, very present. Then there's this trick I like to do, which is R bass, generating some extra 75, 80, 70 hertz at the lowest possible intensity, just a little bit of beef. It's almost unnoticeable, but it does add up. And here's the hero of the day. Amplified Instrument Processor by Kornef is a magical channel strip that I will explain to you everything that it's doing step by step But first, check out the before and after. Tons of shit. So the first thing is the PSP, proprietary signal processing, adds some saturation that is just a sound better button. It gives it some low end beef, and I compensate with the output trim, so I'm not getting fooled by the volume, because it's the first thing I do, compensate the output. Then I apply the insufferable mid-range filter, which is notching out that frequency. And then compensating the high end with this button. Very, very helpful. And then I'm EQing the bass a little bit. So there's like 1 dB at 85, just for more low end. Minus 1 dB at 700 gets rid of some of that shit. Please let me Control Z that, thank you. Boosting the mid-range of the bass so that these chugs are very present, and that's at about 2K. That shit right there. And filtering the subs beneath 38 and the high end above 7K. A lot of stuff that adds up into a cohesive bass sound. Which is very nice. Let's go to guitar. Rhythm guitar, which is very sparse in this cover. Right. So I'm using excuse me there. I'm using a tone hub patch that I know was used on the ERRA album, because they mixed it. These guys, they have their own pack, and they showed the tone for everyone to see. So thank you. They're blending this patch and a different one, but I'm not using the different one. No blending. I'm just using one tone. So it's the Atrium Audio Tone Hub pack, and this is a Diesel Herbert rhythm patch. Has some weird mid-range thingies, but a lot of note on the tone, which I appreciate. What first things first was what? Yeah, big low-end palm mute control, because the palm mutes get very, very boomy on this patch. So that's a dynamic, like minus 6 dB every time there's a palm mute. But when it's not palm muted, it's not hitting. It just makes it so the low end's always balanced. Removing sub at 65, and the hardest notch is at like 2.3. It's very present. I hate that on this cabinet, I don't know. And taking out a little bit of fizz. Then trying to make some magic happen with this guy. Radically changing the treble. The main treble change is the insufferable mid-range filter again, getting rid of something bad at 3.8 and compensating it with this knob. Such a useful tool, very cool. And then to add some presence in the mix, there's 1.5 dB at that frequency, which I took off, 3.8, but it's taking it off as a very, very tight notch here, and I'm adding it back as a very wide bell here. So it's going from this to this, if you will. Wow, that was a good visual way to put it. Nice. Found the guitars to be poking out a little bit sometimes, so I turned on bus glue guitars, just like the bus glue bass, and I made sure it hit a little bit every now and then. And of course, in palm mutes, it's gonna act up, which helps it too. It makes the palm mute sections more quiet. Could have been cool with it off on the palm mute sections. I like that it controls the open section a little bit, but on the palm mutes, it's cool to have them poke out. It's also cool to try to fit them in. So your choice. Leads were very important. So our main lead, I use the Tone Hub Soldano, which I hadn't used yet. On the high gain, something about the cabinet, this bogey cabinet, that is very, very mid-rangey and sticks out for leads. No way you're not gonna hear that, even if I turn it down, so minus 3.1. Even at a ridiculously low volume. So what do we want to take care of? A little bit of harshness. This doesn't really matter. This doesn't really matter at 700, making it more notey, more present even. And here's the harshness, so 2.8. You probably agree with me, that sucks. That sucks too. That kind of sucks less, but if there's any lessons that you see, 4 dB here is like the harshest I will go. So only try to make your tone just a little bit better by removing a little bit of the high mids that you don't like. Don't do stuff like this. You nuke your tone, both sound bad. If your tone is very bad and you're doing it stuff like this, you probably should change the tone, or you should consider the way you're hearing it. And just removing some fizz. Into soothe, because this lead is played throughout half of the song, so it's good to make sure that it's free of any harshness that I don't want to be spending the rest of my life EQing. Soothe can get some of them automatically. That doesn't sound very good, so if Soothe is taking that out, good job. Into a reverb. So I did this trick where, since this is panned to the left, I don't want the reverb to be panned to the left, so I put it on a separate track, centered. This is the reverb. Large hall, get some mid-range out. It helps fill the space of the lead. Really helps. Sounds like a joke without it. So this one was a challenge, this one in the chorus. And I'm not completely satisfied with it. Same tone, the Soldano high gain, very, very crunchy. Oh, there's an EQ here for sure. Yeah, up to 200 hertz. High passing. Helps get a lot of the boominess out of my palm mutes. And yup, I'm compressing it very hard because it's fighting rhythm guitars and bass eighth notes. This gives it laser focus. This focus is down to the mid-range. Again, copy pasted from the other lead, but less high-end. And there's the palm mute guy, not for palm mutes, but for the low notes, like a bon, bon, bon. And it acts up on palm mutes too. That's most of the EQ decision on that. And for the same reason, thooth. Less important here. Your usual. You guys know how I like to do these wet leads. Yeah, either a different patch if I want them to stick out, or the same patch as the rhythms if I want them to blend in, kinda, which is the goal here. So same patch as the rhythm, going into a reverb at 100% mix. That is how I pull these off. And then heavy filtering so that you don't get a whole load of rumble. Listen to this. That's mainly on this high pass at 400. The more important decision in your post-rock reverby lead mixing. This one is to taste. And then it's all about the mid-range getting the right thing. English, yes. And then there were 4 synths I developed for this cover. Out of presets, to be fair. Technology is done! So there's this guy playing this. I mean. So, Serum, and I'm just scrolling through the presets everyone gets, because I haven't gotten any presets out of that. So factory presets, came to this blocked Dreamy New Disco, and I changed the octave of the oscillators to go down, because they were like 2 octaves up, and this is more faithful to the original. I might have extended the hyper guy, so chorus, more chorus, not this guy, this guy. From there on, there was too much sub and a little bit too much high end, so I took those out and I boosted the mid range to make it like kind of match the lead. Way more full in the low end, but now gets to replace the lead in the mid range too. And a little bit of limiting to make sure it's a consistent volume. That's it, really. Very cool. Serum again for my big G sharp synth. Lots of moments where it's reinforcing the thing. This is literally a preset, so pad, slow pad, but I made it not slow by changing the attack. This is what it was before. And I said, nope, you are not slow anymore. Attack is fast. So now it's just a single note. There's my newly acquired synth knowledge. And of course I EQ'd it to make it more soft. That's too much. This is more okay. Yep. It comes in clutch here, where it fills out the space. Very, very nice trick. This guy was a pain. So I got this vintage bells guy, which was somewhere close. Like, there's lots to work on. still. And I worked this guy, the reverb, no, the chorus hyper guy a little bit by increasing the mix. And honestly, I just try to get it right with EQ. It's all in this filter. There is so much information up above that we don't want. And then harsh stuff at 3.6. This guy was a pain and I'm not very happy with him. But I have to learn when to stop my battles so that I can improve instead of trying to do the same battle every day. It does its job. And the bass tone sounds ripping in the solo part. Same tone as everywhere else. Yeah. The outro synth is just this stock guy from Expand called Warm and Fluffy. It is warm and fluffy. With reverb, it's even warmer and fluffier. Gives the notes some release into each other. EQ to make it lo-fi. 450 filter and 4K filter. Yeah, just giving us that tail to the song. And then we mastered it. So I was careful with the master on this one, I like to think. So, Golfos first. Magical equalizer that I like to put on my master bus, and it gives me a little bit of dynamic balance between the elements. Lets the bass breathe when the kick isn't playing. Balances the mid-range between the lead part and the guitar part. It's cool. But it also tries to get a lot of hi-fi top end into your mix, and I am canceling that. Just stuff that would make my hi-hats too crunchy in the mix, for example. Compression. So for mix bus compression, I've come around on the Townhouse on 3 millisecond attack. I am sold. This is the more important thing on this bus compressor, and it was giving me the drum attack that I've been looking for on a drum compressor. So I'll overdo it so you can hear it. Volume will go down, but watch for the drum pointiness. It's the thing. It's doing the thing I wanted to do. Imagine that. It's giving the drum some attack, and it's making everything glued. Compressor City. Then it's time to inflate it with the inflator. This guy is doing its thing. Let's listen. Maybe a little bit too much. This guy tries to bring up all the low level elements and make your mix like inflated and big. Still learning how to use it. I might have overdone it here. It's the effect knob that counts. There's probably a little bit less on that. Then I thought I wanted to soften the high end a little bit, and I know the tape guy does that. Notice the cymbals. It's a weird way to choke out some high end, but it does it. It's cooler than an EQ. I like to believe that. And then limiting, good old ozone. Just digging into the guitar level. So it actually makes it pretty loud by my standards. I'm usually just cutting the drums. Something more like that. But here in this song, since there's so little rhythm guitar, like all three elements, bass, drums, guitar playing at the same time, there's a few important moments where there are, but there's a lot of the song where it's not really. So I can afford to make the mix a little bit louder throughout. Like all these parts are not going to touch the limiter. In those parts, it's going to be like just the drums hitting it, so I can afford to go lower on the threshold. There you go. That was the mix tutorial for this ERRA song that I very much liked and enjoyed cover, and I hope you're enjoying these videos as usual. Make sure to watch all of them. Your support covers access to, it's 100+ of them now that we've been on in the Patreon page. Thank you guys for making the covers a sustainable thing for me, and I'll always aim to bring you more, because if you guys like it, I like doing them too. And 2 a.m. confessions, making the content when I feel like it. I'm rambling. I'm gonna go to sleep. I really love you guys though, and leave comments down below on the Patreon page, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.